and it was a vacation romance, only the first half. And that question came out of thin air, and you can't tell me nothing different. It went haywire. Danielle Allen, McGraw. The Uncle Al. Uncle Al, get a grip. Hey, welcome back to my channel. This week I am going to be reading books that put me into a summer mood. If you watched my July monthly release video, I mentioned in there that I had taken a teeny weeny break, and that only means that the week prior to that I hadn't posted a video, and I had just kind of been in a slump. It was one of those content creation slumps where I couldn't get myself through it by continuing to post content like I do with book slumps. In a book slump, I can just continue to read until I find a book that gets me out of it, but with this one I needed to actually not even pick up my camera at all. But I'm back in action. The first two books in the video, I have already started them. They're giving summer, so I was like, why not just make this video, because I have two other books that are screaming summer. The first two are giving summer, but the other two are screaming it. I'm starting off with That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. This is book 2 in a series. There is a third book that I do own. Well, I don't own it. It's from the library as well. Book 1 is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. That one I do own. Monster romance, I guess. Like a cozy, paranormal, fantasy, whatever. It's also interracial. We have Bria, or Bree. I think it's Bree, because I have a friend. Yeah, so that's Bree. This is like a fantasy-esque world, but she's a human. So there's humans there, but they also know of other creatures that exist and demons. I think all of the creatures are called demons, but they're not demons. Like, I think he's called a demon, but he's a werewolf. So, like, the entire world, I don't necessarily understand in its entirety. But do I need to? Not really. There's a guy that likes Brie, and she's not interested. I think his name is Jack. Jack is, like, obsessed with her, and he ends up trying to give her some kind of a drink. And she takes it, and she yeets it at Felix, and it's a love potion. But Felix is also a werewolf, so he's telling her, like, I imprinted on you and whatnot. If you know, you know. Jacob, Twilight, all that. Maybe his name is Jacob. No, I don't know. Let me stop. And yeah, so he's falling in love, or he's fallen in love because he's imprinted. Bree doesn't want to believe it because she's like, well, like, she understands what imprinting is, but she's like, you got hit in the face with a love potion, so it's like, I don't believe it. It also ends up, it says rom-com fantasy at the top. There you have it. It's a rom-com fantasy. Without spoiling too much from the first book surrounding, like, the plot and the conflict, these creatures, these demons, these werewolves, all these creatures, orcs and all, whatever, end up becoming a part of the daily lives with these humans. They're sharing the same land. In this one, you know, some of the humans are still not messing with these creatures just yet. In this one, there is another creature or creatures that are kidnapping women. Felix is scared for Bree, and Bree's actually been attacked a couple of times. I am almost done. I've been reading it for a couple of days now. I'm on page 152, 153. The book in total is like 240. All these pages right here, these colored pages, you can't really see. All of that, all of this, nothing, not a part of the story. I hate extra pages like that. Good morning. Eating a little toast. Y'all probably think I'm so annoying. Does anyone else contaminate their butter like that? I'm the only one that eats this, so, and this is the only thing I use it for. I did finish That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. I'm giving it a 4. Should it have been in this video? Probably not. It doesn't really give summer vibes in my opinion, but I was almost done. So why not? It was better than the first one. I do own it. I don't feel like going to get it, but I definitely need a break before I read the last book. And I don't know if it's like the very last book or not. Yeah, it was good. It was definitely funny. It wasn't a super quirky kind of funny, because I always say I hate that kind of humor that's in the first book. But it is short, it's spicy, so don't expect too much with the plot. I knew that going into it. That's why I'm gonna give it a 4 anyway. My next book that might scream a little summer is Vera Wong. I never say the whole title, just Vera Wong. This is the other book that I started already. This is about a tea shopkeeper who, she doesn't get that much business, but one morning she happens to come across a dead body in her tea shop, and she's trying to solve it herself. I've read this author many times. This is probably my 5th book of hers. Again, I don't like cheesy humor, but some authors can get away with it, and I do like the way that she does it. This one's really funny. Some of her suspects are the man's wife, his brother, some woman who knew him as well, and somebody else. Maybe like a protege of his, maybe. And it's just so funny right now. And it's like, she's one of those that it's all out on the table. Like the scene where I'm at right now, she's at the woman's house with all of her suspects, and she's like, well, we're here today, like it's her house. And they have the woman that was with him, I think they were married, they have a daughter. So their daughter's there too. She's like, I don't know, 5, 6, I don't know. And she's like, well, I brought you all here today because one of y'all did it and I'm about to find out. They're like, oh. I'm on page 115. I forgot I said I was gonna update when I got home. I've been home for like an hour. Not quite an hour. Okay, let me get my books. Okay, updates from my summer vlog. I was able to finish Vera Wong. I am giving this a 4-star. It was good. If you've read this author before and you like her or you love her, for sure, it's the same vibes as Dial A for Aunties, the other book, oh, 4 Aunties and a Wedding, and I've read another one by her. She's one of those quirky kind of writers where the comedy is cheesy and corny sometimes, and the characters always do the most. And although I say I always hate those kinds of books, I gotta get it from somewhere, and I typically get it from Jessie. The grandma was funny. Again, did she do too much sometimes? Of course. I loved her relationship with Emma. Now, Emma is the daughter of the dead guy. But I was reading some of the comments, not the comments, the reviews, like 1 stars and 2 stars and whatever. And I think it was one of the 1 stars. Either they DNF'd or not, I don't remember. But they were like, she made the 60 because Vera is 60. And they said she made her sound like she was 80. And when I think about it, yes, my mom is 61. This woman was acting like she was 80 years old. Like, that reviewer was kind of right. Like, my mom, now of course everyone's different too. But now that I think about it, while I was reading it, I thought she was older than 60. I think a perfect book to read during the summer because, yes, it's a cozy mystery. Oh, that's another thing. It's more so found family to me. We have all these different characters, the people that Vera is trying to find out who killed, what's his face? Marshall, I think is the dead guy's name is. So they're all coming together, but there's a good portion of this book where they're kind of all just hanging out with each other. Yeah, she's still kind of sleuthing it up, you know, trying to figure out who did what. But at the same time, it's kind of not until the very end that you find out what happened and why it happened. And I just wasn't that interested once I got towards the end. I went into it for the mystery, but as I was reading it, I stayed for the found family aspect of it. Next up, we're gonna get into the books that scream summer. And this is one of them. This is called Out of Office by A.H. Cunningham. This is a vacation romance. Genevieve is a workaholic, and she ends up taking I could have sworn she said a 2-month break. I think she is going to be taking a 2-month break, but she's taking a 2-week break first. Maybe I misunderstood what she was saying, but right now she's on a 2-week break. Where is she at? I forgot where she at. The beaches of Cologne. Ciao, I don't know how to say that. She's on the beach. She's beaching it up. And she ends up staying at one of the little, like, cabanas. I don't know if that's what you call it. They said it in here. Adrian. It has an accent on the A. I don't know what that means. Does that mean, like, drag it out, like, on? I'm going to call him Adrian. I doubt it's Adrian. So I'm going to say Adrian. Adrian is the MMC in here. He was the driver for her while she was staying on the island where she was. They kind of have a thing for each other. He ends up asking her to just stay with him where his family lives. They own these little cabanas on the island. And he says, you know, just stay here for your 2-week break. I'm going back home as well. Also ends up being forced proximity and in one bed because she was supposed to be staying in her own room there, her own little cabana. I keep saying cabana and watch it. That's not what it is. But he forgot that they have some American tourists that are going to be staying there and everything's full. So she has to room with him. I am on page 100. I'm not quite at the halfway mark yet. This is one of my physically owned books, so I am able to tab. I was a little nervous going into it because I have read A.H. Cunningham before. I've read many of her books. I think there's only one that I haven't read. I always say I've read all of her books. I think there is one that I haven't read, but I think it's like a novella or something. Or maybe it was a short that was in an anthology, but it's its own thing. I don't know, but I haven't read that. But this is also her first traditionally published book, so I made sure to go out and buy it. But yeah, I was nervous to get into it because I feel like, yes, I love her as an author, but I feel like some books work for me, some don't. Like, it's not like I've read, like, let's say 6 books of hers. No, let's say 5. No, I've read more than 5. Let's say I've read 6 books of hers. I think 3 have been good. The other 3 have been better than good, like 5s and 4s. The ones that were still good, well, except one. One of them I did give a 2-star. But it was the tropes that it had in there. But there were 2 other books that I thought were good, but I gave it like a 3-star or something. So I feel like with her, it's a hit or miss. I am back with my thoughts for Out of Office. I do have a review for it in my, I don't know when this video is going to be out. I think this could be out this Sunday, which is, I don't know. It's going to be July something. July in the 20s. But this past Sunday, I posted a video of me doing my hair and talking about some of the books that I had already started during July. And I had finished this book by then, so I did talk about it in there. But I feel like I have a clearer head going into this one because I was able to get a review out. I ended up giving this a 3-star. It's a good 3 because I do have quite a bit of highlights, and I just felt like I must have enjoyed something because of the highlights. So I feel like it's unfair of me to give it lower than a 3. First off, I was under the impression that this was a vacation romance. It's short, so I already had in my head, hey, it's gonna be insta-love, and I'm fine with that. And it was insta-love, and it was a vacation romance, only the first half. Once Jen's 2-week vacation is up, she goes back home and starts working. And something happens and they're not in contact. They get back into contact and they start this long distance relationship, basically. But the worst part, oh shoots, I just broke my necklace. My favorite one. I'm looking at this man walking. Broke it clean. I'm gonna have to put on another chain. What was I saying? Right, and once this second half of the book starts, one of the characters, without spoiling anything, one of the characters asks the other one a question. And that question came out of thin air, and you can't tell me nothing different. I was so shocked by what was asked. Once that second half started, it went haywire. I don't know what else to say. I would have preferred this more if it were longer. So this book is 280 pages exactly. I think with everything that she put in here, it would have been better as a regular, like, full-length novel, or like an average full-length novel. So like 330 pages maybe. Something a lot longer than 280, because there was too much, especially that second half that she was throwing in here. It's too short for that. I have come to the conclusion that A.H. Cunningham is probably a hit or miss author for me. The last book, most likely, that's going to be in here is Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. Danielle Allen, that's my girl. That's my girl. She was the very first Black spicy indie author. It's a mouthful. But she was the very first indie spicy author that I ever read from. I'm still here. Even if I talk about a list of my favorite authors and you don't hear Danielle Allen's name, it's because she's in a lane of her own. No one can compare to her because she will always be the first. It looks long, but it's not. It's like average 357 pages. The words are a little tiny. Okay, a little tiny. But I have my tabs already picked out. And I'm excited to read this. I'm not going to read it right now because I need to finish Sleep Like Death. This is going to be in its own video, which I'm about to start, but I am almost done with it. I have this much left. Good morning. Good morning. Updates. I have started Curvy Girl Summer. I think it's going to take me longer to finish than I thought. Yesterday, for a total of 1 hour, right, I took a 30-minute break and I took 2 15-minute breaks. I wasn't even able to read 100 pages. I was only able to get past a little over 60. Usually I can read around 100, so like 86, 94, a little over 100. And it's not that I wasn't reading. I think it's the font. The font is so tiny. I was able to read till 96. I wanted to go to 100, but I lost track of time when I got home. We have a woman named Aaliyah. Aaliyah is plus sized. It matters because ton of fat phobic comments in here. I have a lot of tabs already. Aaliyah is not dating anyone, and her sister Anaya passed, I guess, a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And at this party that they normally hold, I don't remember if it's the anniversary of her passing or her birthday that they celebrate. But it fell on a Saturday, so they ended up doing something, for everyone. She has this uncle who, the reason why you're not dating anyone is because you're fat. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. He's saying all these fat phobic comments about why she's not dating, she needs to lose weight and stuff. Her mom and her grandmother get pulled in because apparently they talk about her. Since she's now the only daughter, Anaya was the one who had her life figured out by 30. She had a husband. I don't think she was able to have kids with her passing. Like, she passed before she could have kids. So now her parents were talking about her because they want grandkids, and they started talking about her, whatever. There's a man at this party that she's introduced to named Marcus. Now, Marcus is the son of one of her mom's friends, and we find out that Aaliyah has a birthday party coming up, a birthday party and a dinner. Her mom invited Marcus to both, basically to get them cahooting, because she's gonna be 30. She's 29 right now. She's gonna be 30. Her uncle, of course, is saying like, oh, like most people in the family have had their life figured out by 30. They've been married by 30, had kids by 30, and she's coming up on 30. So it's like, Well, the reason being, the only reason it could be is because of your size, basically. But she ends up saying, well, I am seeing someone. Of course, the uncle clocked it. He's like, girl, you ain't seen no one. He goes about it the wrong way. He wasn't wrong. She isn't seeing anyone, but he's also wrong about the reason. She's not really dating anyway. Actually, at the very beginning of this book, it's been a while since she's been with someone, so she ends up getting with an ex of hers. Literally, chapter 1, page 1. It was crazy. I tapped a little bit. I didn't want to tap too much because I'm like, I know that's not the MMC. She ends up going to work one day. Her boss ends up getting her on with someone who noticed her at a party that she went to. And she goes on this date at this pub, and she stood up. He doesn't show up. However, who is there? I think this is him. I haven't reread the synopsis yet. Let me just check really quick. Yeah. So she goes on this blind date at this pub, and the bartender there, his dad is the one that owns it. His name is Ahmad. So this must be him. Straight up, their banter. I know I talk about banter a lot because I love it in books, but I'm serious. Their banter, their back and forth is so funny. They end up making a deal. Ahmad tells her to set up a online dating profile, to set up her dates on Fridays when he's at work so he can be there to watch over her. And that's what's been going on. Now, he is married. She sees a wedding ring and she asks. I don't think he's married. I mean, he can't be. I'm assuming this is not a spoiler because I don't know. But I'm assuming that maybe his wife died. There's a ton of dialogue. Someone mentioned that. I don't remember who did that. Majority of this book is dialogue, if I'm being honest. I think the first 100 pages of any book can go a little slow. Now I can actually see some progress. So maybe that'll make me read, a little quicker. I would love to get to page 200 today. I totally forgot to mention the reason why she's doing all of these dates is because she's trying to find the one that she can bring with her to her party. But I also wanted to say, because I just started back reading it again, I have a couple of minutes left. I'm a little nervous because I don't know how many of these dates we're going to be getting. I'm only, again, on 96, 97. Now I'm on 97. This has got to be like the third or fourth one. She's went on one date at the beginning. She went on one from the app. And maybe one more. And now this guy has just walked up to her at the pub where she's at. At what point are we going to start getting more and more moments from just Ahmad and Aaliyah without him intervening with her dates? I told myself I didn't need my camera today because I wasn't planning on filming anything beforehand. And here I am on my phone because I didn't bring my camera. I just want to give a little bitty update about Curvy Girl Summer. I was actually going to take a break for the time being and read one of my arcs that comes out Tuesday. However, I was only going to do that if I was able to read a good portion of that book last night, and I didn't. I maybe read 3 pages and then I went to sleep. So I'm going to continue this today. The reason why I wanted to take a break, I stopped on page 162, 163. The fat phobic comments, y'all, it's just insane. When I read fat phobia in books, because they do have it in books, and when I read it in books, it's like the author gives us a little bit. This one, it feels overpowering. And I mean, it's coming from everywhere. You start out chapter 1, chapter 2, whatever, with the Uncle Al. I mean, Uncle Al, get a grip. A lot of the men that she's dating, of course, when she finds out something that she doesn't like about them and she's like, oh, we're going to end it here. Of course, they have to now start calling her all kind of names. some of the women in here, it's just coming from all over the place. And I'm sure some people or many people could relate. It just feels like in this book, it just feels overpowering. I wanted a little bit of a break from the world, but I am enjoying it. I just know for sure it's not going to be a 5. And it's not because of that. It's because of the way the plot is going. I feel like we're spending a little bit too much time with all of this dating. And I feel like I need something new. Like I'm almost to the halfway mark and we're still kind of doing the same routine and nothing's really changed. Hey. Okay. Curvy Girl Summer. I always forget what the name of this book is. I'm going to give this a 4-star. Where do I begin? I guess first, let's talk about the length. So this is 357 pages. It could have been shorter, for sure. What made this really long, which first of all, tons of tabs. With Danielle Allen, I'm going to always tab, 100%. What made this really long was the dialogue. This is very dialogue heavy. And I really noticed it because I had heard before I even started it that it had a lot of dialogue, and then I kind of forgot. But as I started reading, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a ton of dialogue. So that's what really makes this long. And I love dialogue, but I think the issue that we kind of ran into because of so much dialogue was that some scenes just felt like they dragged because there was this back and forth kind of thing, and I'm not really a fan of that. It's a good book. I will say another problem that I kind of saw was for a good portion of the book, and I think I already mentioned that. So the book is about her going on these blind dates or whatever, trying to find someone to bring to her birthday party. And that's fine, but we know as a reader that that's whoever she's going on these dates with, or that's not going to be our MMC. And I just felt like we just got it, not that it dragged. I loved the moments that we got between them, but at some point I was kind of like, I wonder when we're gonna stop with the whole trying to find someone to bring to her party and just be them two. So I felt like that lasted a while, but it's like I can't be mad at it because that's the plot. Now what I did like, all of the guys that she does go out with on these dates, the reason why she knows that they're not the one that she's going to bring later on is all because of different things. I'm not going to say them, but they were all for different reasons, which I really like. I think that this is a great book for this summer. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below if you have read any of these, if you're planning on it, or what your summer TBR is looking like. If not, comment below the yellow heart emoji. I'll see you next week. Bye!